Hello, everybody. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America. Somewhere below a nation involved in a tariff battle with President Trump. My name's Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, March 12, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM Show here on the New American Media because the old American media failed you. I almost went off track right off the bat. I'm trying to stay focused. But what I wanted to say is that's as bad of an idea as getting involved in a land war in Asia. Inconceivable. Question of the day. Name the movie. Type it in the comments section. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, join our show. Kenneth, what up, buddy? How are you? Kenneth, I don't know. I've missed you on a couple episodes because my time has been either 9 or 10 or 10:30 or 11. Each day kind of presents different challenges. We were like clockwork. Like clockwork, Kenneth and I. We were doing Tuesday and Thursday shows at 3 p.m. Eastern. And now I've floated to do morning shows each day. 6 days a week. I like that concept of in the Bible of keep the Sabbath holy. Work 6 days and then take a day to yourself. And by the way, on my 7th day, I spent 3 or 4 hours out in the yard working. But to me, that's not work. That's like, I love to do it. I need to do it anyway. Oh, well, that's a chore. You're working. Yeah, I don't care. Spring is here. Oh, that was a dark winter, man. No, not Planet Burp. Actually, my buddy would burp. His name's Clint. Shout out, Clint. I know he checks out the show sometimes. We'd be hanging out, and God, we'd years and years hanging out and going out and being out. And he had this thing where he would burp, and he would like the burp would, when it started, he turned it up his go to 11. And so he and I are still to this day, we've been for 10 or 15 years co-managers in a fantasy football league. And it's called Planet ARF because of the ARF. The big burp sounded like a large dog arfing. So yeah, Planet ARF. Planet Earth. Oh, we were like 0.6 points away or 0.4 points away from winning the championship a couple years ago. And man, we have not done all that well since. Yes, Kenneth, you got the movie right. Oh, okay, Kenneth, you work until Tuesday, Monday. Gotcha. Cool beans. Well, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's going on. I want to ask if these attacks are connected. InfoWars, one of their reporters was murdered, and one of their other workers, I'll pull up the story in a minute, they swatted him in his home. That's attempted murder, and I think it happened twice to him in the same day. Someone calls the police and claims that they're you, and they're threatening to off their family with a tool. And so that sends a bunch of panicked cops over to get trigger happy. Or if someone's scared inside their house, the Breonna Taylor story, which version of that story are you going to take? It's hard to unpack, but if someone's breaking down my door in the middle of the night, I assume one thing, and that's someone's trying to harm me. And you obviously want to defend yourself and the people that you love. So that's what a SWAT attempt is. They've done that to Tim Pool. And the tactics of the deep state have been thrashing like a mortally wounded animal. I got a good post on that coming up when we scroll through our X feed and our Instagram feed on one of those channels. By the way, at the bottom here, we have all of the stuff showing where you could, that's about our documentary. Let me switch it to starting to add these comments again. We'll put this up first. Let it go. These are the places. If you like the New American Media, you can donate to the cause. We are completely self-funded, and we are trying to grow. And everyone who signs up on Patreon or shoots a donation over, which it's always appreciated. However you're watching right now, hit like and hit subscribe on your cell phone. Like, I think you can tap the hearts button or the like button if you're on Facebook watching us stream. By the way, that's a good reminder. I need to send this to my other groups now, because we are live. Join us live. And your comments are a part of the show. So the more you comment, the more it'll take me off of my tangent. Canada getting involved in a tariff war with the United States? That's as dumb as getting involved in a land war in Asia. Inconceivable. I do not think that means what you think it means. Great movie, very quotable movie. Kenneth knew what it was. So anyway, those are the donation links if any of you wanted to participate. Also here at the bottom, this has us. Follow the New American page on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search The New American Media. That's our logo in the top right with the either upside down or regular flag. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, scrolling at the bottom there in case you want to double check. And then on X, that was tough to say, at American_Media_. I'm wearing my Shamrock C shirt. That's for my beloved Cleveland Indians. They have been turned into Cleveland baseball something else's. I don't know how George Floyd gets us to remove our Cleveland Indians heritage, our team name, the team we grew up rooting for. But anyway, the Cleveland Guardians are here. Spring is here in a couple days, right? When is spring here? Spring begins March 20. Okay, so we got like a week before spring. But baseball is here. Go out and watch a game. Just go get out in the sun for a couple hours. Just, that's the point. It's a nice way to relax the day away. So yes, and St. Patrick's Day is going to be in 5 days as well. So this is my spring shirt. St. Patrick's Day, spring training, opening day, Major League Baseball. I also do a show called the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. The Unhappy Hour. It's a really good group on Facebook. It's private. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Kenneth, I think you're in that one, right? Yeah, I think Blake Wally and Mike Barra. Blake and I have done a ton of content together, including Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. We'll put that on the screen as well. Make sure you check out that documentary on YouTube and Rumble. But we've done a ton of content together. A million agree to disagree episodes and going to all the conventions and whatnot. The political conventions. Well, and the music convention. We did NAM before. But yeah, they're both in Mike Barra. We were sharing a studio for a while. Mike does a whole bunch of shows. Blake does shows. I do shows. Mike and I do strictly football. We're going to have an episode ASAP now that free agency has started. Actually, I'm going to put down a note here. Barra strictly show free agent. Yeah, we have to do a show. There's way too much going on. Browns re-signing Myles Garrett. He's a Seahawks fan. I'm a Browns fan. So his Seahawks traded away DK Metcalf. They traded away Geno Smith. So it's a rebuild over there. It's a rebuild in Cleveland. We got to get our quarterback. Yeah, we did 23 shows this season. We were doing every Thursday at 5 p.m. And then Blake does a show with Mike. Mike does a show called Toxically Masculine Tuesday. 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, I believe. He's a regular, and I've been a fill-in on occasion. If other people are sick or if we're on location, we'll call in and do reports. So that's kind of fun. Mike was actually hosting when I was live in DC for the inauguration. So, but the point is, I think they are both in Facebook groups. Yeah, you're not so much into sports. Yeah, but Mike and Blake are in the Unhappy Hour Sports Show group. It's pretty good. It's really good. It's all day long. We're talking sports, sharing memes, having conversations. We keep it private. So if you join the group and says, "How did you find out about it?" Say Brian sent you. That's all you need to say. That's how you open the door. So look, I want to talk about today's show. Now that you're going to be following us in all of the places, as we mentioned, we can keep some of this at the bottom of the screen. Getting the tickers back. Haven't had tickers rocking in a while. But I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what's going on with these attacks. You've seen Teslas lit on fire, vandalized. This is a coordinated attack against people who are on the wrong side of politics right now. There's a war happening. There's a genocide of Christians in Syria. Have you even heard about the story? The content coming out of there is sickening. And there's a war. There's a war happening. There's a guy in Ireland that had to spend 500 days in jail because he wouldn't refer to a person by a new name and a new pronoun. Jordan Peterson was right. Yeah, you know, how many people watched him in Canada? Like, you bloody well better believe that they'll force you into saying words. I got to work on my Jordan Peterson. I haven't heard it in a while. I haven't tried doing his in a while. But it was like, you know, that sounds a little whatever. It's not like it's really going to happen here. Oh, you did Blake's show yesterday. There you go. Good times. How was it? Good times. But yeah, there's a global war happening now. It's happening in every country. It's happening in every media. It's happening in war. We're going to give you reports that there are Javelin missiles now that are in Mexican drug lord possession on our southern border, aiming back at us. The money that was stolen by Biden, Obama, Newland to give Ukraine weapons have now been literally turned against us. Our borders were left wide open for 30 million illegal alien invaders to pre-position themselves for an attack. What you see happening in Syria could be happening here today, tomorrow. Are you ready? Are you prepared? No, probably not. What if you're an InfoWars reporter, or you're just any other buddy working in media? You do podcasts, you do shows, you do television, radio. Is someone going to follow you home and take care of you in the parking lot? Is someone going to SWAT your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, hoping that your family's obliterated like that guy in Utah was? Remember that guy in Utah that was like, Biden's a piece of trash in this administration? He was running his mouth. So they went and blew up his house and ended him instead of arresting him. Big fat guy, 350 pounds, 400 pounds. You tell me you can't get him when he's waddling to and from his front door? You can't put a car up there and post up for a second? Wait till they go to Walmart? Just go grab them? No. You got to blow them up and remove them. This isn't about intimidation anymore. This is about elimination. President Trump, two assassination attempts in the last half year that we're aware of. There have been many more on his airplane. There have been attempts made in many different ways. And it turns out that somebody walked into the White House with a weapon the other day, multiple times. So things are in play. Everything is in play right now. All these Tesla attacks, they're stealing the wheels off of cars. They're vandalizing Teslas. They're setting them on fire. They're leaving messages. It's terrorism. There's somebody at Tesla who's working to help expose all of the corruption that's led our country dangerously astray, dangerously toward the dustbin of history. And they don't like it, so they are sending their brown shirts. They are sending their goons after them. And like Trump said, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I just happen to be in the way. And that's a terrifying concept to some people, but it is the reality. And the sooner you realize it, the better off you're going to be. We're in dangerous times right now. What about Luigi Mangione? Caitlin Collins, she shared from CNN the GoFundMe page for him. The guy that went and just blasted a CEO in the back of a healthcare company. Vigilantism. The Christians in Syria, Trump twice. What about the wildfires and hurricanes? Hurricanes are a little bit tougher to manipulate. I mean, you would need, some sort of NORAD, HARP, weather manipulate. Like that seems a little bit more military. Nothing military about a fire. You're telling me you couldn't have 30 people set a couple of fires in the right places at the right time of year, and it couldn't just rip through and destroy massive swaths of America? Of course it could. Of course it could. So we have to ask ourselves, who is standing up against us? And who is standing up, risking everything to try to save humanity? It's not just about America, it's about humanity. So we have a lot of stories to get into today. What happened? What did that just do? Oh, there we go. We had a lot of stories to get into today, so let's begin unpacking the news. There we go. I already said it there. Okay. Benny Johnson here sharing Alina Habba talking about a truckload of Epstein documents. We said we're tired of waiting. Hurry up already. Let's listen to this. Her body language is weird here. She's like a little defeated, a little sideways, a little slouched. Benny's very suspicious, going, are you sure? But are you sure? I just love looking at body language first. It's almost like she doesn't want to be here and he's suspicious.
I wanted to touch on when it comes to pederasts and prosecuting them and the people who are related to them or were in league with them. Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person that's ever done any time for this Epstein for Epstein. I guess the American people, like Pam Bondi, seemed furious in her letter to Kash Patel about the FBI withholding evidence from her on Epstein. Apparently, according to her words, there's a truckload of new evidence. Any updates on that?
It's funny. I actually just asked about this and where it's at. And I just want to say, I understand and hear the American people's, ask. And sometimes they mistakenly put it on me, and that's fine. I'm part of the administration. But I will say that I personally have checked in. They are going through it. You have to be patient because
bullshit. Nope. Stop. No. Patient after 6 years? Shut up. Nope. Not good enough. What the hell did Pam Bondi do that stunt for? Bringing those social media influencers to get a binder like it was 1993 at an Office Max. Hey, here's some binders. Epstein stuff. Nothing in here. Nothing in there. Everything relevant was redacted. What even was that for? We want the names. We want to know what other countries were involved. We want to know the level of our own deep state influence over the project. That's it. No more excuses.
When you are wanting to prosecute and actually do something with the information that you have to make sure that you save the integrity of the investigation so that we can bring these people to justice, so that we can hold grand juries, so that we can do certain things. You have to be careful. The value for the American people to know immediately would undercut, we have to do it. We have to expose it. And we're going to be transparent 100%. But we also have to make sure we're not putting any children in danger, putting any minors that don't want and do.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Won't somebody please think of the children? Another question of the day. Leave it in the comments. What's that from? I know Kenneth will get that one right. Won't somebody please think of the children? Shut up. I'm not listening to it, Helena Habba. No. You're not going to children me on this. How hard is it to take the name of a kid out? That's super easy. Next. That's done in a day. That's done in a day. you're lying to us.
Do not deserve to be publicly identified in danger, and making sure that we put forth the information that would still assist us in getting these individuals to justice. It's such a convoluted thing, but I will tell you, transparency is 100% coming. We did get a ton of documents. Pam.
Did you see her look off to her left right there? Getting a note or a reminder or she looked right out. She looks, this is a bit of a hostage video here. She's being told what she's supposed to say. I don't think she wants to say it. And I don't understand why we're protecting any other nation besides America. The only nation that counts is America. The others can count for whatever degree anybody could count. But you're going to prioritize your family way ahead of a neighbor. No. Who are we really protecting here?
Trump's letter, I think, was directed towards the SDNY, that we now know the individual in charge there had directives to go in the FBI and said, be the resistance. Do not turn over the documents. We have no tolerance for that. But I would just say to the American people, yes, they got the documents. Cash instructed those individuals that you must cooperate. One resigned, who was leading the charge in not cooperating.
And that guy was given a standing ovation, a rousing round of applause on his way out the door. A hero's farewell for stalling to hide Epstein information. That gets a hero's. These people are sick. And
now we have them, and we have to go through them. There is a very large amount of documents, I've been told. They are going through them. And I also, frankly, believe in transparency. We have to give the American.
She looked off to the side there as well. Not necessarily indicative of something, but there's little non-verbal cues that arise.
In people, transparency, and we have been, frankly, and unfortunately sometimes we have to wait a little bit to go through the documents. We are not machines, but I know that they are actively working on it.
There you go. Believe it, don't believe it. We're tired of waiting. Hurry up already. Look, this is they've started directing people at U.S. aid. We've seen these reports, 100 of them. We'll get to them as we scroll through here. Shredding and burning documents. They are trying like hell to cover up what they've been up to at USAID. And I think they were overthrowing this nation. They were using our stolen money to fund all of these domestic terrorism groups during the summer of love and today, to terrorize this country, to weaken this country, to overthrow this country. It's treasonous behavior. And I think they're freaking out and lashing out. A wounded animal lashing out. They're done. They have one last, here's all I got. I'm just going to be screeching until I can't. It feels like that's where we're at right now. Tim Burchett, he's letting it rip. And we're all putting it on the line. Everybody has to be all in at this point because we may never get another chance to put some shit right. We've been off track for a long time with the core components of our reality. From inflation to warfare, to domestic terrorism, to manipulation and abuse and lies and deceit and traps and slavery and bondage and just putrid abuse. We have a chance to set a lot of key components right. That's only if we all give a shit and if we all lock in. Now that doesn't mean to support Trump blindly. Don't get it twisted. Thank you, David. Where are the arrests? Being all in at this stage, and this, if you're living under Lula, if you're living under Starmer, if you're in Romania, Ukraine, and you feel like there's no voice, that's how we felt in America. Palestine, what is Palestine? Is Palestine a bunch of awesome people or a bunch of people that are constantly wanting to declare war on neighbors? Terrorists or good people? Ukraine. Warmongers, good people. Americans, warmongers, good people. No matter where you are, there's something going on. And there's a battle for the direction that we're headed. This might be the last and only chance we have to fix some of this stuff. Yes, David, where are the arrests? Where are they? I'm done waiting. I'm done. I've already called for Pam Bondi to step down or be replaced. That binder stunt. Oh yeah, the files are on my desk, ready to go. Oh wait, well, everything is redacted. Oh wait, oh, we had to go get some. If there's somebody at SDNY that's not cooperating, quarantine the building, lock it down, arrest people. Yes, David, where are the arrests? Where are they? Oh, USAID's burning all their materials. Okay, where are the Marines to surround the building, send in SWAT, lock it all down, indict the people involved, and get to the bottom of what's been happening? The theft and plunder of our nation's wealth. 36 trillion on a credit card. These people aren't just spending money. They're not just stealing. They're inventing future money that doesn't exist. Things that you're supposed to be on the hook for as an American. It's not just happening in America. It's a global scheme. And you know what? If there is some sort of grand economic plan to overspend and then catch up to it by inflating our money, which makes your currency worth less until it's worthless, 36 trillion worth, how do you ever pay 36 trillion off? Then I want to hear that financial plan on the table. I want to talk about it. Because we should all be participating in a game that has the same set of rules. What is the rule book here? What are we doing? And it's been manipulated and it's been abused. Where is the accountability for these people? That's what I'm waiting for. Tim Burchett, he's going after him. I like Tim Burchett, and I think you should too.
And very in-depth tweet, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Congressman.
And all you're seeing right now is the graft, and that's why the left is pitching such a fit, because Elon Musk very bravely has stated there is a paper trail, and it will lead us to where this is. And you know.
Okay, hold on. The paper trail. I put in the comments, bless Tim Burchett for becoming a MAGA superhero. That was the point I was building up to. The main point I was getting at there. Forgive me, I'm juggling stories and comments and thoughts and the next thing, and it's interesting. It's a delicate web that I weave as the conductor here of the crazy train. This might be the best chance we have, and it's a wise idea that we unite. We support the companies and the products that we believe in. We starve the revenue of the products and the people against us. We're seeing the Canadian kickback now with the tariffs. And there's calls to turn Crown Royal into Bud Light. I'm like, all right, hold on. Let's deal with this tariff back and forth first. They're taking American products off the shelves. All right. Well, we can band together and stop spending our money on Canadian stuff, or we can sort out the details. Hold on a second. Let's let this play out. When I say join the right team, yes, it's the general MAGA movement. It's not about Republicans. It is anti-Democrat because Democrat are the deep state. Although a lot of rhino Republicans like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Romney, Graham, McConnell, these people are the deep state, Republican in name only. This is about the MAGA movement saying we are members of a club in America and we want this club to be as awesome as possible. We want things to be safe, clean, fun, organized, prepared. That's what we want. Joining this team doesn't mean you take a blind allegiance to President Trump. Please don't think that's true. I stand firmly with Thomas Massie. And I think these calls to primary Massie, very bad idea. Very bad idea. People are wondering if it's about more than that. Does he not have the right handlers around him? Are you ready for that conversation? Oh, no, we can never talk about influence of a foreign nation. Says who? Says who? We must talk about that. The nation we care about is America, not the Vatican, not Israel, not Ukraine. Do you want to keep going? Which places allegedly have power and control over other places? Usually it's America playing Team America World Police. You know, staging coups, color revolutions, overthrowing leaders in other places. And when the people fight back, they're called terrorists. You know how that works, right? You've been paying attention in the Middle East for a while. Iraq twice, Afghanistan, the Mujahideen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, until they're not. It's usually us doing that, but if there's influence coming from extraterrestrial sources, foreign nations, it doesn't matter. Like I said, Vatican, Israel, Jewish, Catholic, Jesuit, it doesn't matter. Go peel back the layers of this stuff. The Crown, go back to the United Kingdom. Who's really pulling the puppet strings here? And all I care about is making this country great. Then, once we have our own gas mask on, we have our own oxygen mask on, then we can try to help our neighbors out, right? Oh, I did the right thing. I don't normally do that. I was talking about it yesterday, how much I dislike it, right? People who have a lousy argument, they'll throw in a word that will make you want to agree with them, right? And often they'll use it 2 or 3 times in the same paragraph, and you're like, oh, you are trying really hard to convince me, which makes me not trust you. I don't know what's going on with Thomas Massie, but I'm going to call it a big failure that Speaker Mike Johnson gave us a budget that's going to add $300 billion. You're cutting with Doge. Why aren't you cutting on the budget? Cut some stuff out of the budget. Meet Thomas Massie a little bit in the middle. Say, hey, you know what? On principle, I think we can shave whatever it takes to reduce our spending levels, because they've been benchmarked at the COVID spending crazy levels. Stop spending so much. We don't have an income problem. We have a spending problem, as Dave Ramsey says. David's saying he's heard it's going to be a slow disclosure for the arrests. You know, I've been hearing, oh, this is the biggest sting operation in the history of mankind. They caught them all. Cool story. I'll believe it when I start seeing it. We're on how many years now? 6 years? 5 years? 8 years? 9 years? Well, like, how many years are we on now that we've been hearing about this? Okay, cool story. I want some proof. Yeah, none of this movie is making much sense. You know, I went to go see Nora, the one that won for Best Picture and Best Actress at the Oscars. I sort of felt that way about that movie. It's not that it didn't make sense. It was just, I don't know. I don't know. Didn't love it. Yeah, 8 years, I think. Yeah, none of this movie is making a lot of sense. Unless you start asking some different questions. And let's just say for the MAGA movement to just turn on Massie like that, I'm not a fan. I'm backing Thomas Massie. Massie and Rand Paul, both of them. You know, these are people you want to listen to when it comes to government financial expenditures. You want to listen to the smartest people in the room who've been proven right. Oh, this inflation, where's it coming from? I got a hunch. I have a few ideas of where it could be coming from. Exactly, David. The future proving past. Well, we're going to talk about it. In order to figure out what's going on now in the future, we got people like Tim Burchett figuring out what's going on with Doge and looking backward, which is why they're thrashing so loudly. The deep state protesteth too much.
Good and well that stuff's going to go right out of the American taxpayer's back pocket, right into the pockets of politicians. In the past, we've seen it go into campaigns. That's been documented through some other funding sources. But now I think you're going to see some people should go to jail, and possibly members of Congress.
So possibly
members of Congress going to jail.
Members of Congress, because what the suspicion is that the money is going out of the government under Democrat-run administrations.
Yep, they're throwing gold bars off of the Titanic, as it was declared. I believe it was a James O'Keefe Media Group undercover video.
And it could be getting recycled back in campaign donations.
It's called money laundering.
Do you have hard evidence for why members of Congress should go to jail?
Well, if they're involved in it, and if their family members are profiting from it, then you're dadgum right, they should. Absolutely, 100% informative.
You're daggum right. Oh, that's actually a good comment.
Informative and very in-depth tweet.
There's a comment. You're daggum right button. That's a good quote. Elon with a great positive message here, but then a little bit of a cryptic ending here.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Of savings?
I mean, unless we're stopped, we will get to $1 trillion of savings. I'm just here trying to.
Well, and I just posted, and that was that part, unless we're stopped. I don't like hearing that. We've been needing a full governmental audit. We've been needing a full governmental audit for decades now. Thank you, Elon. Was what I said. Donald Trump Jr. shared this. Another talking point bites the dust. Remember last week when they were talking about egg prices haven't gone down yet? Well, turns out if you stop needlessly slaughtering hens, you make more eggs and then the price goes down. Abracadabra. Here's a shocking development. This is Bonchi. When Biden isn't around to slaughter all the chickens, more are born and they start laying eggs and the prices go down. Democrats apparently didn't plan for this unforeseeable possibility. Look at that. Come crashing down. Turns out when you stop slaughtering hens, I mean, that is a precipitous drop. Let's wait and see where it is in a month. Should be back down. Let's get some chickens in every backyard. We had a conversation, if you missed it. We had a nice long talk. Kenneth, were you in that one? David was, and somebody else was. Our conversation with Adam Kokesh on the Agree to Disagree show. He lives in an Earthship, and I went to intern for 6 weeks in the Greater World Earthship community in Taos, New Mexico. Yeah, and having chickens is such a key part of homesteading. It doesn't take that much to put some fencing in your yard and put some chickens at your place. It doesn't really take that much. I don't know if that's a project I want to do now, but in theory, it's a really good one. All right, abracadabra. I like magic. Fox News reporting that the Trump administration. Hang on, do I have to change the aspect ratio? It's so close. If they could just scooch it a little. There you go, like that. Trump administration has cut funding to Maine universities as the state defies an order to ban trans athletes from women's sports. Network of 8 public colleges in the state, in response to the state's recent refusal to comply with the executive order keeping men out of women's sports. Wake up, Maine. Protect the women. This is not rocket surgery, people. All right, have you seen this story? It's going around everywhere. Let's start learning about this a little bit. Maui Police Chief John Pelletier. Well, let's just listen to the report because we're going to have to do some research onto this one.
Allegations against Maui County Police Chief John Pelletier. A lawsuit claims that he was a cop while working for rapper Sean Diddy Combs 7 years ago. Pelletier is denying all of the allegations, but Maui's mayor is asking the police commission to put him on leave.
Did they mute? A lawsuit says John Pelletier responded to a gang. You can't say rape. Like, I get that like shows get flagged, but when you're covering the news, I don't understand why we're being treated like children by the algorithms. Abducted a victim of Diddy's at gunpoint, transporting them from Vegas to California under pretense of being a sheriff, serving a fraudulent warrant with the intent for the victim to be abused by Diddy? Whoa. Dude, this is like the worst thing you've ever heard. Victim claims Pelletier gave an envelope to a neighbor which she believed to be full of cash. Claims Pelletier later took her and another plaintiff at gunpoint to his home, restrained them, refused to let them call an attorney, and made various moves to cover up the kidnapping. And these are wild accusations. Even after these incidents occurred, Pelletier is still named chief of Maui police, and the devastating fires happened only shortly after. My God, someone that would do that could do anything. Many questions loomed as to whether or not children went missing after the fires where entire families disappeared without a trace. Government disputes these claims that have not been verified. Whoa. These claims are some of the worst you've ever heard.
Leave until this case is resolved. Our Eddie Dowd has the story.
What channel is this?
In the nearly
MJ Truth Ultra? I don't know what.
The 90-page civil lawsuit filed by Ashley Parham and two unnamed people, Maui Police Chief John Pelletier is accused of being hired security for Sean Diddy Combs in 2018. It claims Pelletier, who was a Las Vegas police captain, posed as a sheriff deputy in
Was he the police captain when the Vegas shooting happened?
California to respond to an alleged gang rape involving Combs. The alleged victim claims Pelletier told her to go home but offered no help or medical care. The woman claims Pelletier gave her an envelope to a neighbor which she believed to be full of cash. She claims Pelletier later took her and another plaintiff at gunpoint to his home, restrained them, and refused to let them call an attorney, and made various moves to cover up the kidnapping. The Maui Police Department said in a statement Chief Pelletier has no connections to anyone in the lawsuit. The allegations are unfounded and false, and the plaintiffs are spreading misleading narratives. But Maui County Mayor Richard Bisson has requested that the Maui County Police Commission puts the chief on administrative leave during the investigation, saying, "This approach does not constitute a presumption of guilt, but ensures that the individual in question is not in a position that may compromise the integrity of the office while the matter is under review."
Host of allegations against Maui County Police Chief John Pelletier.
John Pelletier. All right, let's keep an eye on this story. You know, when you're looking at Kid Rock and Mr. Bean for Reason, we're truly on one of the most interesting timelines imaginable. No, actually, Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, one of my favorites. One of the greatest comedic actors of all time. Put him in the top 50, top 100. He's there. One of the greatest I've ever seen. And I study all of them. Oh, by the way, did another set yesterday, Kenneth. I'll have to send that to you.
Reasonable and well-intentioned ambition to contain obnoxious elements in society has created a society of an extraordinarily authoritarian and controlling nature.
Oh, they're playing music. This is what gets it flagged for copyright. Am I going to have to? Yeah. I think I'm going to have to just read it to you. I wanted to hear him, but that doggone. Here, Kenneth, I'll send this to you. Maybe. What's going on? All right. What you might call the new intolerance, a new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people, say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh, yes, wise words, wise words. And if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realize that all it's advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another, which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. Underlying prejudices, injustices, or represents are not addressed by or assisting people. They're addressed by the issues being aired, argued, and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process. For me, the best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. That doggone piano, I wanted to hear Mr. Bean say it, but I think I cut it off at the right time. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about people being abused for their speech, for their thoughts, thought crimes. Irish media uproar. The Burke family are headed to Washington, D.C. Do you know who they are in Ireland? Take a listen, learn.
Equality. Is there equality for Enoch Burke? He's 300 days. He's 300 days in Mountjoy prison. Is there equality for Enoch Burke?
Is there equality, Roderick O'Gorman? Is there equality for Enoch Burke?
Is there equality for Enoch Burke?
Excuse me,
For his religious belief.
Excuse me.
For his religious belief.
He did a cell in Mountjoy
He'd
prison tonight.
make a better minister for children than you.
Yes, he
You're
would.
a disgrace.
Shame
You're a
upon you,
disgrace.
Roderick O'Gorman.
Have you any respect for Christian belief?
Have you any respect?
respect?
Have you any
Any
respect?
respect for Christian
You are a
belief?
disgusting
For the
disgrace.
God of heaven, you'll stand before God. Enoch Burke in prison because he won't call a man a woman. He won't call a man
He won't accept transgenderism, Roderick. That's your agenda. Do you have anything to say?
What a disgrace to our nation.
You must say
What a disgrace to our nation.
You have nothing to say.
What a disgrace.
You have nothing to say. How dare you?
What a
What
disgrace.
is shame upon you? 274
What a
days in
disgrace to our
Mountjoy.
nation.
Nothing to say.
Shame.
Equality. Is there
So, Christian school teacher Enoch Burke was imprisoned for 2 years in Ireland after he refused to use they/them pronouns for a singular transgender student. And he's currently traveling to Washington, D.C. They've reportedly been invited to the White House. Great trade. Ireland gets Rosie O'Donnell and America gets Enoch Burke. I hope Trump offers him and his family asylum. Resist tyranny. Defend freedom of speech. This is the only way. There is no line in the sand. It is yes or no. It's binary code. No shades of gray. So anyway, here's Thomas Massey talking. Everybody but me. Everybody but him what?
Everybody but me has an APAC person.
What's that mean, an APAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your APAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for APAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are firmly embedded in APAC. And
every member has something like this?
That's how it works on the Republican side. And when they come to DC, you go have lunch with them. And they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them.
That's absolutely crazy.
I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my APAC person. And it's literally what we call them, my APAC guy. I'll talk to my APAC guy and see if I can get him to dial those ads back.
Why have I never heard this before?
Why would they want to tell their constituents that they've basically got a buddy system with somebody who's representing a foreign country? It doesn't benefit the congressman for people to know that, so they're not going to tell you that. Everybody.
And let's not forget about his wife passing away recently. Let's not forget about Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law, I think it was. What was the story? The car backed up and drowned her in a lake. Why are people against Thomas Massey? Massey is speaking up for the fiscal sanity of America, and we support that. Everyone should support that, including President Trump and MAGA supporters. Thomas Massey is one of the good ones. There's not a lot of them. Newsmax reporting. Aspect ratio. Newsmax reporting, President Trump has received an apology from Ukraine's President Zelensky in a letter following their contentious encounter at the White House 2 weeks ago. And we heard Marco Rubio say that there's a ceasefire now. Is that accurate? Let's take a look. Let's keep unpacking.
You don't need...
Here's a good conversation, a good... I talk about the news, but when I find interesting things, I'll share interesting things here. So have you felt a little out of it lately? Have you felt a little... Are you feeling a certain kind of way? Well, Do you need therapy or do you need a reality check?
Need a therapist. You need to stop acting like life is a medical condition. Bad days aren't trauma, and feeling lost isn't a disorder. And not getting your way, that's not oppression, that's Tuesday. People have started diagnosing normal struggles like their psychological crisis, when in reality life comes with stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. That's not dysfunction, that's just being alive. Therapy has its place, but so does resilience. At some point, you have to stop overanalyzing every inconvenience and start handling things like a functional adult. Because resilience isn't outdated, it's just rebranded as toxic positivity. You don't need a therapist, you need to stop acting like life is a medical condition.
Yeah, we said school teachers and media need to start preaching this gospel. Unfortunately, the opposite has been true, and people are struggling. They've been abused. Speaking of abuse,
see these college campus kids, these woke kids with these free Palestine flags. Will they ever protest for this? This kind of genocide? I mean, this is cruel, guys. Please don't look at the videos that are out there of these killings. They are horrific.
I've seen far too many. I don't want to see them anymore. But you need to know that this is coming to a town near you. Because if this is allowed anywhere on earth, it can happen anywhere on earth. South Africa, Syria, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia. And for what reason? How is it all connected? Are these attacks connected? Maybe not linearly. That's not a word. Maybe not in a linear way, but yes, I think so.
You see axes and hammers being taken to the back of the heads of these Christians. You see Christians being ran over in the streets. You see Christians being crucified on crosses and shot. These radical Islamic extremists rounding up these Christians in Syria in the back of their trucks, and look how they're treating them. Women and children, men. So every time that you hear that Trump does an operation where he either carpet bombs the hell out of ISIS or whatever, I want you to think of this guy's face and don't feel bad. Don't feel bad when these guys perish from the earth, because this is pure evil. And every time that Trump bombs terrorists or bombs these, or Israel bombs the Hamas, good. I want you to think of these guys right here and what they're doing to these people. And this isn't even the worst of the videos. Look at slapping them, kicking them. This is Islamic terrorists making Christians in Syria crawl and make dog noises. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. And where are the free Palestine people on this? Where you'll never see these college campus kids, these woke kids with these free Palestine flags. Will they ever protest for this kind of genocide? I mean, this is cruel. Where are the free Palestine?
By the way, like he said, he described a couple of these other videos. It's not like the bullying stops here. This is where the abuse begins.
Palestine people, you won't find them because they don't know what the hell they're fighting for.
Look at South Africa. Look at Syria.
You'll never see these college campus.
Story needs more attention. Border of America here. Well, not the border, but Mexico City, rather. 300,000 people rallying for Trump.
100,000. That's no small thing. That's a
fake news. First off, this isn't a real news network. Yeah, it is. Second, show us the video of 300,000 supporters. That's hilarious.
That's a big turnout supporting Donald Trump and some regulation.
This person, if you don't believe it, you can look on Google search. You're right. This is wrong. It wasn't 300,000. It was 350.
Of these tariffs, right?
Yes, ultimately it was a shocking statement that we never thought from a leftist government coming into this Sunday. First and foremost, she said that she has a great relationship of respect with the Trump administration, and also that she is going to agree with the Trump administration to tackle the enormous trafficking of fentanyl because she is preoccupied of the youth of the United States of America.
The comments are saying that the Mexican leader is in the cartel. They're saying that this was a rally for the Mexican president, or, is this a rally because they're coming together to go against the cartels?
Other than that, Steve, it was shocking to hear also her statements about immigration. She said that she is for legal immigration, that also she wants to tackle immigration and illegal immigration, but ultimately, at the end of the day, that she believes that to stop this immigration crisis and then this enormous flow, we need to make those countries great so this immigration crisis will stop. Those were shocking statements that you will not even hear this if the Biden administration was still in power in the United States.
So what's the change then? When this first started and the tariffs were first announced by Donald Trump, President Sheinbaum was very negative, very stern. And all of a sudden, all of that's changed. America, does that big economy up north hold sway?
I believe that the respectful dialogue that, Donald Trump has shown also to the Mexican president, that's one. Second of all, the implementation of the tariffs, that's another one. But the most important one is that the United States has been pressuring the Mexican government, the corruption in the Mexican government with their dirty politicians, putting the cartels as designated as terrorists and making the government to work. So that has been opening up the window. Also, the pressure that they have because the El Mayo Zambada, it is right now detained and also arrested in the United States of America. They are afraid of this campaign and drug lord to speaking out. He knows about who funded the political campaigns of a lot of these corrupt politicians. So that has put also ultimately more pressure on the Mexican government to work and to deploy National Guardsmen into the north borders to decrease the level of trafficking. That is another thing that it was shocking, Steve. She said that from January till now, more than 40% has decreased on the trafficking of fentanyl to the United States of America. And she is willing to destroy this drug, not only inside of Mexico into the United States, but around the globe.
300.
Good. That drug needs to be eradicated. We need to hold Mexico accountable. We need to hold China accountable for the poison. Brianna Morello here saying that Representative Al Green's seat is being challenged by the sister of the late Army. What's SPC? Specialist? Late Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen, who was killed at Fort Hood in 2020. Myra Guillen says she decided to run for Representative Al Green's seat after watching Green disrespect President Trump, their country, and their district. Vote Guillen, then. That's a good line. Vote Guillen, then. That's rememberable. And Wokeness putting this out. The Patriotic Babe. Biden's pardons for Fauci, Milley, the January 6th committee, and his family all share exactly identical signatures with AutoPen. Who actually signed it? And if Joe Biden didn't sign it, then they weren't signed, right? Let's keep an eye on that one. All right, let's switch over to... hello, Bella's Chance. Yes, you're saying AIPAC, Israel, Zionists behind everything. Yes, Massey is amongst the good ones. I don't want any excessive influence from anyone outside of America. Any. From anywhere. None. I'm good. Thanks, but no thanks. This is America first. Right? It's America first. All right. Actually, let me switch the captions here. Places you can follow us. Oh, I'll actually do the donation link first. Then I'll go back to places you can follow us. I'm adding the new ticker. We're adding the logos back in. We're kind of getting back to some of the production value that we used to have. There we go. That's a different background. That's a little more interesting. Interesting, if not distracting. I'm trying to figure out if that's interesting. Interesting. Okay. Pinned right here, Hurricane Helene, help on the way. Let me change the caption. There's our TNAM documentary there. Scrolling at the bottom. Hurricane Helene, help on the way. That is right here. Oh, doggone it. I'll play the first 40 seconds of it with you. Because I really like how we did the first 40 seconds of it. Blake and I kind of came up with this. He was doing the editing. I was doing some producing. And it tells you the story of the project really quickly in 40 seconds. Where's the volume? Oh, there we are. Oh, doggone it. It did. Hold on. It switched. That's what the problem.
There was no notifications going to your phone, like an Amber Alert, like evacuate. I get alerts from Denny's. There actually was a bunch of houses right here that are here now. You can see, look how big the river is, like the riverbed. Holy, look at this Dollar General, bro.
It blesses your heart to see the way people have come together.
Yeah. I heard like 4 different people talking about like how everybody's just worried this initial hop's gonna die away and people are just gonna forget about it. And really none of these communities can afford to be forgotten.
So that's our documentary, Hurricane Helene, help on the way. Please go like that. Watch it. Let it play in the background. Let the ads play, like tossing a penny into the wishing well, especially on Rumble. But yeah, share it to some people if you would be so kind. We would appreciate that. Proud of the project, insofar as we're glad we did it, and we would like everyone to watch it. All right, let's scroll through our X feed. There we go. All right, Bill Mitchell, our friend Canada has been. Well, here, let's just watch the video.
So let me get this straight. Canada, you're big mad now because the U.S. is going to now charge you the same prices that you've been charging us for umpteen years now. Well, let's read off some of these prices that the Canadians are charging the United States. Dairy products, 298%. Poultry, 238%. Fish, 100%. Consumer goods, 30%. Lumber, 20%. Steel, 50%. Aluminum, 10%. Copper, 48%. Agricultural products, 250%. Cars, 25%. Guess how much the U.S. is charging them and has been charging them? Cars, 2.5%. Copper, 0%. Aluminum, 0%. Steel, 0%. And y'all are mad at us. Okay.
Yeah. Spare me. Mad at us for saying, hey, it's not right, and you're doing reciprocal. And that's when remember, Trudeau said, okay, Marco Rubio said, you know, as a reminder, if you want to know where President Trump started calling Justin Trudeau, Governor Trudeau in Canada, our 51st state, Trudeau himself was the one that said, you know, if we don't have the tariffs, we can't function as a nation. He's like, well, then maybe you shouldn't be. Maybe you should be our 51st state because you're taking advantage of us with all your trade deals. Take the trade deals away, you're going to lose your funding. Lose your funding. What, like, are you even a country, bro? But it's interesting to remember that dynamic. That's where all that conversation came from. And learning about just how badly the Canadians have been abusing Americans, it makes no sense why we've been allowing it. Makes no sense why we've been allowing us to be taken advantage of ever. We're very fortunate to have someone that's putting this country first in charge. So anyway, I guess I could go full screen. Nick Adams reporting here. This is Fox News saying that President Trump had a big day. Let's hear about it.
CEOs and Wall Street lenders who are in Washington are seeking market reassurance. They're also seeking some clarity on the president's foreign trade vision. This evening, the administration, they paused a plan to hit Canada with additional tariffs that would have gone into effect tomorrow morning.
The tariffs are going to be throwing off a lot of money to this country.
The president faces America's top corporate leaders on a day marked by rapid-fire tariff threats exchanged with Canada. This morning, President Trump revealed plans to double existing duties on Canadian aluminum and steel imports to 50%. Retaliation for Ontario Premier Doug Ford imposing a 25% tax on electricity exports to the U.S.
The temperature needs to come down.
By 3 p.m., Ford temporarily suspended the tax.
Rather than going back and forth and having threats to each other, we have both agreed, let cooler heads prevail.
And that's actually what I'm calling. I'm going to show you a story about a call to boycott Crown Royal. It's like, hold on. Let's give it a second. Let's give it a second before we go nuclear. And that's what people don't understand about Trump and this tariff negotiation. It's a negotiation. It's a starting point. It's not the end point.
We need to sit down and move this forward.
That sit-down with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is scheduled for Thursday to hammer out a renewed United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Outside the White House, President Trump shared that Ukraine has accepted a ceasefire plan and that the ball is now in Russia's court.
Hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal.
The president added that Ukrainian President Zelensky is welcome back to the
Hold on, let's hear that one more time.
Court.
Hopefully Russia will agree to it.
Ukraine has agreed to the ceasefire proposal. Will Russia agree? Can we do this? Are we there now? Are we there now? Because we saw attacks from Ukraine in the past week. We saw attacks from Russia in the last week. You know, just rubble. Okay. Was that the last lashing out? Are we where are we at on this? Any update?
We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal.
The president added that Ukrainian President Zelensky is welcome back to the White House. Another matter, picking out a Tesla for purchase. The president said it's a show of support for Elon Musk and that in response to Tesla takedown protests, he will label any violence against Tesla dealerships domestic terrorism.
You do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
Well, the president said that he won't be driving his new Tesla, but his staff can, and that they're excited about that, saying that he paid for it via personal check. Now, when asked about a recession, the president said, quote, "I don't see it at all." The White House instead called it a period of economic transition, Brett.
There you go. Period of economic transition. And it is time. If you're not on X, this might be a good time. I don't think, Kenneth, you're not on X, right? Even just to boost the numbers a little bit, even if you're not going to sign, and not you specifically, or you, Bella's Chance, or you, David Bann, but, you know, if there's a company that's doing some good stuff, and I think Elon restoring freedom of speech on at least one social media network has been crucial. You know, it might be a good time to go ahead and support Elon. Even get the free version of X, download it, or get a desktop version. It doesn't take much to start an account, follow 100 people, and occasionally scroll through it a couple of times and maybe retweet a few things and just stay active or quasi-active. Look, that's the easy way. You want to go a little bit more committed. I think it's $7 a month or something to sign up for the YouTube Premium. And we have to do that. It's one of the many operating costs of knocking out a show each day. If we want to stream through X, and we do, we have to have the premium version. So it's $130 a year or something, on top of the $600 a year that it is for the Restream app, on top of, you know, it all adds up really fast. For a free show, it sure cost me at least $1,000 a year. That's just bare minimum to get things started. But to get a free X account, that takes nothing. To do a yearly thing, sure, I'll sign up for a reoccurring $130 yearly charge. I'll support the cause. They're putting out a good product. They're allowing us the privilege of speaking freely on X. What's that worth? I think our First Amendment's worth a lot, because we didn't have that as an option on YouTube. We didn't have that as an option on Twitter. We didn't have that as an option on Facebook or Instagram. So that's a way you support. Free account is easy on X. paid account. And by the way, they're not a sponsor of mine. I'll take it. We can be sponsors. I need to get some sponsors. I need a couple people. Anyway. As soon as I get around to sponsors, I'm going to get some sponsors for the damn show. But yeah, sign up for an X account, super free, super easy. Pay for a yearly account, $130 once a year. It's like, all right, if I can do it for Netflix, I can do it for a company I actually like. Do you actually like Netflix, but you're paying for that? Disney Plus, ABC, ESPN, Disney, you're paying for that? Do you like them as a company? One case of beer a week. Do you like that company? Do you like, it's just, it comes down to where our resources are going. Where's our money flowing? Where are our resources going? President Trump, he's able to write a personal check and buy a Tesla. Okay. That's a level. That's definitely one of the ways to support Elon, because Elon has dedicated a lot of his life now, and he's put a big target on his back. And he's just saying, I want to find the waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm good at this stuff. I can make companies run lean. Remember, that was what people were saying about Mitt Romney, the venture capitalist. Like, oh, he'll be great for America. He'd do that for Staples. He helped them avoid bankruptcy, at least for a while. You got to cut the fat, trim the waste. Go down to brass tacks. And America needs that with $36 trillion on the credit card debt. And for that privilege, Elon's been attacked relentlessly. His companies have been attacked. Other countries have taken away their Starlink. People are literally burning Teslas, vandalizing, terrorizing, using acts of domestic terrorism to go after his company, Tesla. They've staged financial boycotts of X. When the deep state disagrees with you, they try to ruin you. Was the InfoWars reporter an accident, wrong place, wrong time, or was he targeted? Oh, you damn well know that the person who got swatted was targeted. So now that's 2 of them in 3 days. So yeah, it feels like they were targets. They took 2 shots at Trump. They tried to get him in Butler, and they tried to get him on his golf course and others. So yeah, maybe it's a good time to, like Trump just showed you. If he bought a Tesla, maybe you should buy a Tesla. Now, maybe you're not in that position. Maybe just get on X. If you're on X, maybe pay for the premium, $130 a year or something like that. So it's time to fight back against the people who are trying to destroy us financially. We need to support the companies that are the good companies, and we need to stop giving money to the people that hate us. That's the message I'm giving you right now. Nimbus is not letting me get every time I move my hand, he's grabbing my hand. Okay, Nim. All right. Kenneth says hello, Nimbus. All right, let's go to the next story here. And here it is. Let's go ahead and read it. Doug Ford said, please see a joint statement from United States Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick and myself. Joint statement. Today, the United States Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick and Premier of Ontario Doug Ford had a productive conversation about the economic relationship between the U.S. and Canada. Secretary Lutnick agreed to officially meet with Premier Ford in Washington on Thursday, the 13th, alongside U.S. Trade Representative to discuss a renewed USMCA ahead of the April 2 reciprocal tariff deadline. In response, Ontario agreed to suspend its 25% surcharge on exports of electricity to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. People, tariffs work. Oh, geez, the aspect ratio. Do it like that. You gotta get a load of Nimbus. He's being all lovey right now. Charlie Kirk says, breaking. 4 hours after President Trump escalated U.S. tariffs on Canada, Ontario agreed to suspend its 25% tariff on electricity exports to the U.S. pending negotiations on a renewed USMCA trade deal. Translation, Trump's massive retaliation worked. So to anyone who's freaking out about the stock market, freaking out about inflation, freaking out about egg prices, freaking out about anything, please stop letting the radical left, stop letting the deep state freak you out about every story in the news that has anything remotely to do with President Trump. They are trying to destroy him at all costs. They got their ass whooped in the 2024 election because the deep state Democrats are unliked, unpopular, unsuccessful, unserious people that should never be allowed near the mechanisms of government ever again. So resist the urge to drink their panic porn. All right, here's George Soros telling the World Economic Forum. Let's just take. I don't remember when this is from. Is this an old clip or a current clip? Either way, what we posted was the enemies have boldly aligned themselves upon the chessboard. Soros is with the bad guys. Let's resist and win the day. Win for humanity and win now. Let's just take a listen to George Soros, what he thinks.
President Trump is a con man and the ultimate narcissist who wants the world to revolve around him.
Says the ultimate narcissist who's been paying all of these, not all, but paying these blue state, deep state prosecutors, district attorneys to let their criminal element run loose in the blue cities. Says the ultimate narcissist. And by the way, people that use the term narcissist, I feel like there's a very strong narcissism in those people because it's so easy for them to point out the narcissism in others. Well, if everyone around you is a narcissist, maybe you're too sensitive or you have your own condition. A certain blend of narcissism you probably have as well. A certain blend of narcissism you has.
When his fantasy of becoming president came true, his narcissism developed a pathological dimension.
A pathological dimension. You know what? He's going after the corruption. I'm not confident in Pam Bondi. I'm not confident that we're not infiltrated by foreign powers. I'm not confident in several things, but I am confident that this is the best chance we've had in my entire lifetime. Let's go. Let's push as fast as we can. Let's push into the spots that we need to go and uncover it all. Pick the scab off the wound. You got to treat it. It's turned gangrenous. It didn't heal properly. It's festering underneath. You need to clean the wound to heal yourself. And America is a wounded animal right now. Not fatally. The deep state with U.S. aid, it seems like they're fatally wounded and they're lashing out with the last things that they have. With the last breaths, they're just lashing out blindly. Oh, the U.S. is wounded, but I don't think it was fatal. We have a shot right now. And you either align yourself with Soros or Trump. It's not really complicated. Here's this dude. This is what I was saying about the boycott, and I'm urging a little caution here. But let's listen to these arguments, see how well they sway you as a good reminder to like kind of take a breath.
They need to fight in the act of support. They want a trade war. Let's have it. Keep watching this video.
It's going to get... Doggone it. I don't want music. I'm sick of hitting the copy. It's not letting me play it without music. Anyway, whatever. I'm not doing it. The point is, they were urging a boycott, and we were just saying, let's hang on. Let's not be too hasty. Maybe Crown Royal has a viewpoint on this. Maybe we don't have to do this. Let's unpack it first. Anyway, check out the video. I'm sick of playing background music that's free use. It's not licensed. It's made as generic music for anyone to just grab off of a playboard, and they keep flagging it on YouTube, and I'm getting tired of the daily arguments with them. That's why I couldn't even play Mr. Bean. I wanted Mr. Bean to tell you. You can find the original on our feed. Anyway, these are just the crazy ones as a reminder. Trump said Canada's cheating the U.S. Milk, butter, cheese, all up north of 243%. So, come on. Long-standing unfair tariffs, shielding domestic producers from foreign competition, especially agriculture, and our dairy farmers need a fair chance from Canada. According to Ian Jaeger, Mike Flynn calling on Bondi, Attorney General Bondi, to issue arrests after an email showed instructions to U.S. aid employees to shred documents. Here's sort of what I was getting at earlier today. Brian Cates writes this. People don't grasp what a fatal wound Trump and Elon already dealt the DC parasite class. There is no just going back after this, no hasty pulling of the curtain back into place. It's impossible. It can't be done. The flashy thingy from the film Men in Black does not actually exist. And if it did, you couldn't use it on an entire country that's been watching these corruption revelations with wrapped in awful fascination. The attacks on Musk and his companies are not some clever ploy to distract the public while the globalist cult frantically tries to pull the curtain firmly back into place. They are revenge attacks. They know well the mortal wound that Elon and his citizen team of Doge experts have already inflicted upon them. You are watching a dying animal lashing, flailing about in an impotent rage as it bleeds out, and bleed out it will. And that's a beautiful thing. And what's the comment here? Our golden age doesn't start until this Hydra is dead. Can you give us a hand? All these different heads. All right. I need to look this one up. Let me look. Have you heard about this story? I don't know if I can confirm this. Because our question was like, hold on. Yeah, I'm seeing it reported, but I don't see it as something that's been verified in any way I can. I'm scrolling. I'm not seeing confirmation. It all seems to be from this account, from this Desiree. They said Doge uncovered a $6 million grant awarded to Whoopi Goldberg to promote diversity on The View, and this is exactly why these audits matter. Now let's ask the real question. Why was taxpayer money used to fund a lame daytime talk show? Okay. Now, because she's always pushing these ridiculous, divisive, deep state Democrat tactics, the Obama doctrine, that accusation makes sense to me on the surface. But our question was, hold on, this is the first time we've heard this. Who has confirmed this story? We'll have to look around on this one. I just quickly looked around. I didn't see anything that I could verify. So our reporting on this is to ask these questions. Let's see if we can debunk this. We got to be careful we don't just share things that aren't accurate. And it's fine. Like, we're all just moving really fast. Touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. We're filing stories. But if a story seems a little off, let's be discerning and let's ask questions. We can share the accusation because then someone could reply and go, hey, look, it's CNN reported it right here. Or, here's that they had a congressional testimony. They revealed this today in court. You go, oh, I missed that. Thank you. Or people go, why are you sharing this story? It's only from this one account. No, it's not confirmed anywhere. It's just slander. Okay. Well, in our discussion of it, well, you shouldn't even share it. A share equals an endorsement. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I've never believed that. A share means we get to have a conversation about it. So I just hope that you're a conscientious observer and consumer of social media information in this day and age. You got to have like the spidey senses, the sixth sense of it all. Where did that go now? There we are. So keep your eyes peeled on that. That makes so much sense to me, though. I wouldn't be surprised, but I haven't found confirmation about it. We actually invited Matt Van Swole onto the Agree to Disagree show because of the stuff he's saying. He says it was uncovered that well, let's just listen to the report here. He's been doing a good job covering the Hurricane Helene disaster.
After Hurricane Helene devastated the region, the city is estimating $1 billion worth of damage to public property and more than $17 million in lost revenue. Approval of its $225 million federal disaster recovery grant is contingent on the action plan that it must submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. But their draft includes DEI criteria, with the city saying that the impact of disasters is often disproportionately borne by vulnerable populations, including low to medium income households, marginalized communities, persons with disabilities, and other underserved groups. Joining me now in this Fox Business exclusive is the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Scott Turner. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for being here this morning. Good to see you.
Well, good morning, Maria. Thank you for having me.
What do you want to say about Asheville and the DEI programs? Where are you in this recovery plan?
Well, you know, my team and I we're grateful to be here in Asheville. But as you alluded to, this draft action plan that the city of Asheville presented at first has elements of DEI in their draft action plan.
Therefore, you reject it immediately. You strike all that language. No more DEI. It's racism, pure and simple.
And that is not acceptable to HUD. It's not acceptable to the president according to his executive order to get rid of all DEI. And so we're working with the city of Asheville. They have been very responsive to make sure that their upcoming draft action plan is in compliance with HUD and how we give funds out according to HUD's principles. And so we're happy to be here. They're working with us, and we're looking forward to helping the people of Asheville recover from this disaster.
Well, you've got a lot of priorities, I know, Secretary. And I want to ask you about the homelessness.
There you go.
Asheville, North Carolina.
DEI. Get rid of that stuff. You do what makes sense. You don't do that. That stuff's divisive and illegal. But yeah, here's Trump again. Here's the footage of President Trump yesterday saying, you know, you need to support the people who are helping support us. That's reciprocal. You need to spend your money with people that like you. Go to your farmer's market. Spend your money. You got local people growing eggs, you know, or collecting eggs rather, selling produce. Spend your money there. Don't give it to big pharma, big agriculture. Spend your money local. Exchange, barter, trade. President Trump's like, these are cool cars. Let's get one. Let's pump your company up, man. People are going after you in domestic terrorism acts.
Hello, President Trump. Are you looking to buy or lease today? Well, I'm going to buy. And I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. And he's a great patriot. And he's also done an incredible job with Tesla. And I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so. And not only successful, but super successful. And because he's able to find billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud and waste and all of the things. I mean, our country is going to be very strong very soon because of a lot of the things that he's done and a lot of the things that I'm doing. And there's no better team, but there's no better for what we're doing. There's nobody like this, and he shouldn't be penalized.
Right.
And when I watched the other day, I said, I can't believe it. It should be the opposite. People should be going wild, and they love the product, but because he's finding all sorts of terrible things that have taken place against our country, they want to penalize him in an economic sense. And I just think that's very unfair. So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it. And they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it? One of my great things in life is that I can, you know, I like to drive cars, but I'm not allowed to.
All right, why is he not allowed to? I mean, I've heard this. And by the way, if you guys aren't aware of one of the great reasons why you should be on X, it's because of Grok. It's their AI tool. I've decided I'm not using Google anymore. I go through Grok. So why can't the president drive? He's not legally barred, but it is practical, security-driven tradition that they don't. Secret Service takes control of transportation to minimize risks. Driving themselves would expose them to unpredictable situations. Okay, that's fair. Traffic accidents, ambushes, or even just public interactions that could compromise their safety. The presidential limo, often called the Beast, is a fortress on wheels equipped with armor, bulletproof glass, and advanced tech, all operated by trained agents who double as drivers. Historically, presidents drove before security concerns ramped up. LBJ cruised his Texas ranch. Gerald Ford known to drive occasionally. But after JFK's assassination in an open car in '63, Secret Service tightened the reins. By the time Clinton wanted to drive a rental car in '93, they let him, but only on a closed course. Nowadays, it's non-negotiable. The president's safety trumps personal freedom behind the wheel. There's also optics. A president stuck in traffic or parallel parking poorly wouldn't exactly scream leader of the free world. So they're chauffeured, period. And if you're asking about a specific president or country, let me know. I assumed US here. Look, in 3 paragraphs, right there on Grok, did you get to the answer or close to the answer compared to when you try to search something on Google? You type that same thing in, it's going to give you an MSNBC article about why President Trump is a weakling for not driving. Here's an opinion columnist from the LA Times who says Trump's, and it's like, that's not what I'm asking. They quickly give you something that's going to shed negative light on sanity, normalcy, common sense stuff. I just want an answer to the answer. I'm sorry, an answer to the question. I just want an answer. Ugly wheels on that car, though. Yeah, you know. Actually, a bunch of wheels were damaged on. Yeah, by the way, this is from a satire site. I just got a message about it, and one of my buddies would kind of called it out. And I said, yeah, that's exactly why we said what we said. Running the search. It's from a satire site. Anyway, let's continue. Jack. There we go. Side by side. Okay, it'll work. Jack Posobiec saying, here is the AP reporter who threw a fit at Caroline Leavitt today. What do you notice about him? Oh my gosh. He's doing the thing. Oh my gosh. How do you spell mannerisms? Huh? Double NN. Whoop, where'd I go? Other page. Oh, I need to change the aspect ratio. Doggone it. Sorry, guys. He's doing the thing. Remember when President Trump talked about a reporter that was going with his arms? No, I can't believe our president would say such a thing about it. He's doing the thing. And the pretentious leather elbows, the verklempt look on his, I mean, I notice a lot from that picture. Moving on. Showed a picture here. Jeremy Wade Tate. Here's an 8th grade graduation exam from 1912. It's not for affluent kids in New England. This was rural Kentucky. Oh, geez. A man bought a farm for $2,400 and sold it for $2,700. What percent did he gain? So what do you divide there? That's $300 gain. 20. How do you? I'd have to check a couple times. I go, oh yeah, okay. It looks like 15%. Let's say 20%. A man sold a watch for $180 and lost 16 2/3%. What was the cost of the watch? Okay, let's move on to physiology. How does the liver compare in size with other glands in the human body? Where is it located? What does it secrete? Describe the heart. All right, let's move on to another one. Give 3 duties of the president and what is meant by veto power. Grammar. What is a personal pronoun? Yeah, by the way, if you're not aware, the Department of Education is on its way out, people. Our education system has absolutely tanked. And they've already cut by half. We'll get to that in a second here. Clay Bowes here pointing out an article from March 11th, 2025 in Reuters. Not a great source, but we'll use it. Poland has arrested a Ukrainian woman convicted of selling 56 human kidneys. Warsaw, Polish border guards. Kazakhstan to 12 years, participating in a organ trading group. Yeah, we've been talking about organ trading there for a long time, and all this human trafficking, what's happening to these people. We thought that was a conspiracy theory. I thought it was just Russian propaganda. No, it is happening in Ukraine, and we've been reporting on it for years. Want to hear something crazy? Amuse is reporting MAGA, the American Heart Association here, actively fighting legislation to prevent food stamps from being used to buy soda and candy. Why? The NGO relies on funding from Pepsi and Kellogg.
I often say that I can never be surprised in this building, but for the American Heart Association
And look at her overacting
to be against this bill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's the good one. But she was very animated, and usually over animating is a bit of a signal to me. I'm not an expert on body language.
79 seeks to remove soda, candy, potato and corn chips, and cookies from the list of items eligible for purchase with SNAP.
My name is Alec Puente, and I'm the Director of Government Relations for the American Heart Association. I'm here to testify today in opposition to Senate Bill 379.
I would encourage you to look at what it restricts.
The Heart Association is concerned about potential impacts of this bill on participation and population health. Imposing nutritional restrictions will interfere with the primary function of SNAP, reducing hunger, without reducing root causes of chronic disease.
I'm here because I want to support the children on this program and protect them from the chronic disease that sugar will lead them to develop. I actually advocated for this bill in Arizona and was shocked by the big soda companies sending their own person to come and advocate for the fact that there's no correlation between soda consumption and obesity, which is just a straight up lie.
It's time. Look at that. Look at how much we've been off track. And it took President Trump to team up with Bobby to get this stuff going. It's not like those are the only two that are making this happen. But for decades, we've been on the wrong path with nutrition, and it's time to get on track. Here's Alex sharing this. Maui Police Chief John Pelletier.
Instead of the 89 souls lost, only 2 have been identified, or that's of the recent.
So of the 89, so realize this, when we find these.
This is the guy who's allegedly connected to the 2017 Las Vegas shooting and just named in the Diddy case.
You know,
the accusations would make him one of the worst humans on earth.
Our family and our friends. The remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal. We have to do rapid DNA to identify them. Every one of these 89 are John and Jane Does. And so when you are asking us, and we know we've got to get, and I love the way our House representative, how she said it, she was so eloquent. We know we've got to go quick, but we got to do it right. So when we pick up the remains and they fall apart, and so when you have 200 people running through the scene yesterday, and some of you, that's what you're stepping on.
Yeah, won't somebody think of the children? Won't somebody think of the remains? Or are you the cover-up artist? We'll keep following this story. Yes, gender ideology does not belong in schools. Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. No, they can't consent under 18. If you turn 18 and you want to take any experiment, like, you can have at it. You got to protect the kids to be kids. Let them grow in and out of whatever phases they may or may not be in. Don't damage the kids. It is Detransitioner Awareness Day, a perfect time to remind all children that they are perfect the way that God made them. You're okay. You're loved. You can love who you love. You can dress how you want. Just compete in sports with the sex that you are. Stay in the locker room of the sex that you are. You can be who you are. Love who you want to love. But these mutilation surgeries and air quote transitioning, it messes up your perfectly functional plumbing system. It removes your ability to procreate or experience an orgasm. And nobody under the age of 18 should be making a permanent life-altering decision like that before they're deemed an adult and able to make a decision like that. So protect the kids. Gays Against Groomers said March 12 is Detrans Awareness Day They're more visible than ever, sharing their stories of falling victim to medical malpractice. People who were harmed by gender-affirming care deserve justice. Detransitioners will be heard. You got to hear this story if you want to push the other side of it. And I'm, like I said, you want to do what you want to do at 18. I'm fairly libertarian in life. If you pay for it with your own money and you want to do whatever you want to do, face tattoos and very invasive surgeries, you may have at it at 18 with your own money. I'm not pushing to end that. I don't get it. It's not my thing. But protecting kids is my thing. Here is the Department of Education here. Let's take a listen on the Ingram angle.
Madam Secretary, great to have you in studio today. All right. First, welcome to the show, because you haven't been in studio with me before. Now, is this the first step on the road to a total shutdown?
Yes, actually it is, because that was the president's mandate, his directive to me. Clearly is to shut down the Department of Education, which we know we'll have to work with Congress, to get that accomplished. But what we did today was to take the first step of eliminating what I think is bureaucratic bloat. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks, it's a humanitarian thing too. A lot of the folks that are there, they're out of a job. But we wanted to make sure that we kept all of the right people and the good people to make sure that the outward-facing programs, the grants, the appropriations that come from Congress, all of that are being met. And none of that's going to fall through the cracks.
So that was my next question. So the criteria for keeping that 50% is related to expenditures and key programs?
Correct. Congress appropriates the money that is going through Title I to IDEA programs.
What's that stand for?
Do you know what? I'm not sure I can tell you exactly what it stands for, except that it's the programs for disabled and needs.
Individuals with Disabilities Act, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know all my acronyms. I've been here for 30 years.
This is my fifth day on the job, and I'm really trying to learn them very quickly.
Right. It's a lot. So reports today said that the buildings were going to be closed for security reasons. What does that mean?
Well, when people left today and they got their notification to take their laptops and their phones home with them, and we didn't want.
And by the way, I did see places where she was being criticized for not knowing what that department is. Like, she described what it is. She's like, I don't recall if it's. I know what HARP is. It's high auroral resonance. What the hell is HARP? I'm gonna look on Grok. I'm not gonna look on Google. I'm done using Google. HARP, H-A-R-R-P, no, H-A-A-R-P, High Auroral Research, High Auroral, what? High Frequency, because that's the A, there's an F in there. High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. I know what it is, but off the top of my head, I can't recall exactly what the words are. So they're trying to blast her for that. She's like, it's my first day, I don't know, but it's about the access issues. Oh, okay, yeah.
Part of the people who were being permanently let go, and those who are remaining to some of them show up to work tomorrow morning.
That's standard corporate
practice. So it's
practice.
just standard corporate practice that we just locked the doors and said, for those that are coming back, will know that they'll be coming back on Thursday morning.
Were people given a chance to take any personal effects?
They were told that they will be allowed to come back. We would arrange for them to come back and take their personal effects with them, and to say goodbye to some folks too.
Randy Weingarten, you're shocked. I know you two are catching dinner in about 20 minutes, but she actually commented about.
Well, that's a weird place to end a clip, isn't it?
Madam Secretary, great.
So yeah, cuts are issued today. Continue work towards shutting down the Department of Education. First road on the step to a total shutdown. Reducing headcount by 50%. The dismantling has begun, says Christopher Rufo. Tom Fitton. Trump team just fired half the remaining Department of Education because of Doge. Let's go. Or not because of Doge, but Lives of TikTok reporting the spending in the Department of Education has only gone up, but the reading and math scores have gone down. It's time to abolish the failing Department of Indoctrination. They're pushing all sorts of divisive gender ideology and racist ideology. DEI racism, just divisive, helpless, whiny. They're creating the wrong types of kids. You want resilient kids that are going to have a well-rounded idea of how to actually do things that are going to represent them, so that they can accurately represent themselves in a tough world. These schools have been doing the opposite. The Department of Education has greatly failed them, but it's what the deep state Democrats have been pushing with their lying legacy media, because they want it from cradle to grave. They want you dependent. They want you to loathe yourself. They want to have all of this extra shiny objects. Look at the jingling keys over here. Everything's racist or homophobic or this, that. And it's like, no. Learn how to like do things. Learn how to read. Learn how to do math. Learn how to be successful in life. Learn to take care of yourself. Learn how to bounce back from a difficult situation instead of wallowing in the misery and having day-long pity parties. The stuff that I figured out was happening when I got to enter the foster program for half a year in Los Angeles was mind-blowing. Ugh. We've got to fix our schools. This is rapper Lil Yachty on a cooking show with Quenlin Blackwell.
$1,000 on a trip to Disney once. How much have you spent on charitable causes this year? Let's start cooking these pancakes.
This year technically just started, so this year, it's hard to.
What about last year?
Well, last year, it's hard to gauge.
All right. So what about the year before last year?
Oh, well, that year, that's a good year. Yeah, it's just blurry. I be doing so much.
BLM? Since you want to be so black powered?
BLM is a scam.
Clip that. Send it to the fucking news.
BLM was literally a scam. They had bought mansions, and you probably wouldn't know anything about it because you don't care about black people. You don't follow black
I do care about black people. Look at my chocolate. You're mad.
It's a disguise.
You're mad. I think I'm literally the most pro-black person in this room.
Because you have an all-white staff?
They're not white. They're people.
What? This is off the rail. This is unhinged.
Pro-black person in this room.
Because you have an all-white staff?
They're not white. They're POC. Thank you. But don't laugh.
I do have a gay, so I also am.
Gay?
Yeah. Black Lives Matter, according to Colin Rugg, was accused of mismanaging donations. No, it's been proven they did, including how they purchased $6 million, 6,500 square foot compound with donated money. We said, despite that outfit, this guy seems like a smart dude. Total scam. AstroTurf, division, power, hatred, control, all pushed to ram through the deep state Democrat agenda to remove President Trump at all costs in 2020 during the summer of love. All right. I think a lot of people are going to be having this conversation and waking up. That's a good thing. We referenced this earlier. This is retired Colonel Doug McGregor confirming that Mexican drug cartels have Javelin missile systems that we sent to Ukraine along the U.S. border. Let's take a listen. Our comment was, what? Let's prepare. America, enemies have positioned themselves. It's time to defend ourselves. The time is now. TNAM preparedness.
The strike package, we have a seat for you on a B-2 and you can watch the bombs go off. Would you like to do that? Nobody wants to do that. There's no interest in this country in any of that crap. But people in this country are damn well interested in what's happening on the Mexican border, and I just spent 3 days down there. And they're damn well interested in what's happening in Mexico because they know that that is a cesspool of barbarism, savagery, criminality. And that's our existential threat. Not China, not Russia, not Iran, not anywhere. We can manage those things. President Trump can manage those things. This thing down on the Mexican border is really at a boiling point. We need to understand that.
Tell me, what does that mean?
Well, what it means is,
of course, this is during a Tucker Carlson interview. This is how serious the situation is at our southern border. Now that 30 million illegal alien invaders have pre-positioned themselves across this country. If I were a bad guy, what if the power went out one day and every sleeper cell activated and you had Syria all over the United States? Oh, that could never happen. Really? Because these people think big and they seem quite demonic, capable of anything, including COVID.
That the cartels run everything. I mean, we hear about this President Sheinbaum in Mexico. Forget it. You know, she controls 40 square kilometers in Mexico City. This whole thing is an organized crime state. Everyone in Mexico knows the truth. You know, if you go to Mexico City, my oldest son was just down there for a month, and he speaks very fluent Spanish, and he was talking to lots of people, and he loved the place, loved Mexico City, loves Mexicans. But they'll tell you flat out, well, don't go there, and don't go here, and don't go there, and don't ride in this cab, and don't take this automobile, don't go to that airport. You know, everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows who operates what, who controls what. And if you navigate through this maze of invested power of the cartels, you can survive.
This is not good for humanity. This is really rough. And taking back operational control of our southern border is 100% crucial to our survival.
But if you accidentally cross into their territory and are seen as a potential problem in any way, shape, or form, you're dead. But at the same time, you've got whole families of these cartels, people that work for them that are being treated for dental needs, medical problems, whatever else. I mean, you join the cartel, you get free health care, you get all of this. It's bizarre, but it's real. And you pointed out the weapons going down there are serious. I was down there and we talked to several people who were border patrolmen, also talked to some Texas Guard people. They said, we just go 100 yards on the other side into Mexico, and behind the ridgeline over there, you'll see all the weapons, all the RPGs, the Javelin missile systems that have found their way to Mexico.
Javelin missile system?
Yeah, we've got it. They've got those things over there.
From Ukraine?
Yeah, sure. Well, we sent over, I don't know how many, 1,000 of them, and several hundred were captured by the Russians. And then I'm sure several were sold on the black market. I mean, about 50% of everything that showed up there ended up somewhere that didn't belong. You know, it's just one huge corrupt industry in Ukraine. And the longer we feed it cash, the worse it will get. So you've got to starve it of cash, starve it of ammunition.
Yeah. Wow. Did you know it was that bad? Here is Chase Geyser, host of Sunday Night Live on InfoWars and Spaces, Rise of American Populism. Here's what happened to him. Do you have a plan if you're asleep at 1 in the morning, 1:10 in the morning, and this happens?
Are you inside? Can you acknowledge? Or Chase, can you step out with your hands up?
Travis County Sheriff's Office, step out of your house now with your hands up.
Come out of the house with your hands up. Do it now. Do it slow.
Okay, come outside. Step out. Step out. Step out. Come outside. Come on, come towards us. Don't walk towards him. Have him come out. Come on. Come towards us.
Walking. I mean, itchy trigger fingers, something spooks these guys. I mean, anything could happen. This is an attempted murder right here. And we're saying this is an act of terrorism. This is attempted murder. Domestic terrorists must be harshly dealt with.
Keep walking. Keep walking. Towards us. You're great. Keep walking. Keep walking. Stop. Turn around. Stop. Walk backwards. Keep walking. I got you. Keep walking. Keep walking.
The domestic terrorists are going all across the earth today. Make no mistake about it. That's what's happening. Chase says, I was just swatted again. So this is not the first time. Moments ago, just before 2 a.m. Now, hopefully in all the systems, when they put that address in, they'll go, this person has been a victim of swatting. Any calls about this are so should be met with 100% skepticism, but please follow up on it appropriately if you must. He said, I was just swatted again moments ago, just before 2 a.m. 6 to 8 police officers used a PA system to call me by name and order me to walk out of my house. I was handcuffed in the middle of the street, presumably at gunpoint, though I couldn't tell because of the light being shined on my face. I was then led into the house where my wife was woken up, and we were informed that they received a call from someone pretending to be me and threatening to off my family. For the second time in 2 hours. Yep, swatting needs to be a felony. Fake swatting calls should be a felony. Yeah. One of the writers at InfoWars, Jamie White, was shot and brutally murdered on Sunday night. This stuff is awful. It's domestic terrorism. It's the left. Check out our show yesterday about Elon Musk becoming public enemy #1, targeted by the deep state. According to an internal email obtained by Politico, acting executive director Erica Carr instructed remaining staff to spend Tuesday shredding and burning classified safes contents in personal records at the agency's former headquarters in Washington. USAID ordered immediate destruction of sensitive documents as the agency collapses, as they face dismantling under the Trump administration. Shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break, emphasizing that burn bags must be marked secret in dark Sharpie. Email provided no explanation for the purge. However, it comes amid sweeping layoffs and the transfer of USAID's office space to Customs and Border Protection. The destruction effort underscores an aggressive push to dismantle USAID, a once powerhouse of global development, with a $40 billion annual budget and 10,000 staff. Last month, DOGE attempted to access secure agency systems, triggering backlash and the administrative leave of 2 USAID security officials. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed this week that 83% of USAID's programs have been eliminated, with the remainder set to be absorbed by the State Department. A former USAID staffer called the mass document destruction unprecedented, telling Politico, I've never seen anything like this before. So Kyle Becker's reporting that. Here's Joe Rogan gasping as he's told by Elon Musk that, okay, Elon instructed Treasury and the Federal Reserve to make payment codes for government expenditures mandatory. This alone is costing taxpayers $100 billion a year. Payments with absolutely no explanation. Our recommendation to the Treasury and the Federal Reserve is we need to make the payment categorization codes mandatory, not optional. And there needs to be an explanation. We're not judging the quality of the explanation, but there should be some explanation for what this payment is for, instead of just nothing. That's a radical change to the system that's being implemented. Now, my guess is that probably saves $100 billion a year. Rogan says, where is that money going? Where was that money going? Charlie Kirk reporting that Planned Parenthood is still receiving $2 million every day from U.S. taxpayers. Once again, I think stuff like Planned Parenthood and abortions, where half the country, 60-70% of the country are against it. You have a very vocal minority who are in favor of it. And it is sort of a libertarian issue. You should be able to make your own healthcare decisions. I do get that. But it's similar to medical mangling surgeries. If you want to destroy your fully functional reproductive organs, you should do that at 18 on your own dime. People who are saying this, I don't want my dollars to support that, they should be able to opt out of Planned Parenthood and genital mutilation surgeries. Not to ban it, but if you want it, you should pay for it. This should not be us paying for that. Now, what is this? Our own tax dollars funded the Kamala's campaign through Act Blue. We just don't know it yet. What's this clip?
We just got word from Act Blue, the fundraising platform that's been very effective in supporting the Democratic Party.
Very effective.
Remember I said at the beginning that sound that you're hearing is the sounds of pens scratching on checks? Quote, small dollar donors raise over $27.5 million on Act Blue.
That is hilarious because they get a couple million kicked back to them through U.S. aid. You funnel it, and then you filter it even more, and you funnel it again. You filter it again. You launder it into Act Blue, into tiny donations where they get the name and the address of someone, and guess what? They're sending $1,700 every 2 weeks. Someone who's retired on a pension that doesn't have that money. They're just using their shell existence to route that money back through. Now that you looted it, you threw the gold bars off of the ship. Oh, this is hilarious. Does she out herself or what? Yeah, 1,000 checkbooks scratching. No. Oh, this is great.
We just got word from Act Blue, the
allegedly
fundraising platform that's been very effective in supporting the Democratic Party. Remember I said at the beginning that sound that you're hearing?
You hear that fake laugh? She's such an actress.
Remember I said at the beginning that sound that you're hearing is the sounds of pens scratching on checks? Quote, small dollar donors raise over $27.5 million on Act Blue in the first 5 hours of Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign.
Yeah, like Kamala was popular, like Joe Biden was popular. We don't believe it. You guys are lying to us. You're creating a fake Hollywood reality that we're not believing in. Stop it.
$27.5 million just on Act Blue, just in the first 5 hours.
Yeah, because you've been stealing our money and money laundering it through Act Blue, allegedly.
Act Blue says, quote, grassroots supporters are energized and excited to support her as the Democratic nominee.
Oh, look at this characters on that screen. When has a worse panel of 4 people been assembled in media? Nicole Wallace up there talking about that that kid that fought through cancer at the Trump speech in front of the joint session of Congress, hoping that he doesn't off himself like an officer after the Capitol. Jen Psaki, the mouthpiece for the fraudulent Vice President Biden's regime. Oh, and there's the other one down there in the corner who'd lost her show. All right, so yeah, Maui Police Chief John Pelletier accused of being involved in a cover-up of a gang assault as a police captain named as a co-conspirator in the Diddy case. Politico, here's the ad. Mike Benz calling it a 5-alarm fire. Right now, as we speak, U.S. aid is shredding and burning the contents of the agency's classified safes. The key information needed to reconstruct the history of U.S. aid's weaponization, both at home and abroad. This must be stopped. Yes, what? Why aren't you locking the building up? Marching everyone out, processing them, indicting them, charging them. There's another story about this. Hey, remember that time you said the Steele dossier was credible and Hunter's laptop wasn't? That was awesome. Yeah, these people are in lockstep. They are the deep state. Ron Paul says, here we go again. Remember back in 2020 when Congressman Thomas Massie heroically stood up against the $2 trillion in COVID spending? Back then, President Trump called Massie a third-rate grandstander and a disaster for America. Massie was correct. He was primaried for standing firm and was victorious in the election. The COVID spending helped to usher in inflation that we're still dealing with today, not to mention all of the fraud. Once again, Congressman Massie refuses to support reckless Republican spending and debt. And once again, President Trump seeks to primary Massie after comparing him to Liz Cheney. If Congress was composed of hundreds of Thomas Massies, we wouldn't be trying to claw our way out of the abyss right now. Watch this video, share this video from Dr. Ron Paul. Here is a visual representation of the Social Security database. They tried to duct tape a telephone pole from falling down. A visual representation of the Social Security database. Yeah, let's tighten that up, shall we? Oh, here's when all hell broke loose because of pronouns.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply...
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I mean, I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned. I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
There you go. All hell just broke loose in a House hearing. Men are men and women are women. Alina Habba discovered the fake Oval Office where Joe Biden allegedly pretended to be president.
All I can say is the last administration was a disgrace. You guys?
A disgrace. Teleprompter right in front of him. Smaller desk when he'd play his role as president. The whole setup looks like a Hollywood studio. The history books are gonna have such an interesting time unpacking what we saw for the last 4 years of this fraudulent coup. Yeah. Oh, I said it. Now I believe it. Common sense would dictate. Elon says Democrats are pushing hard to maximize payments to illegals, like free luxury hotels in New York and free medical care for illegals in California, as that is their current and future voter base. Wow. Entitlement, spending, and cuts. Yeah, they're trying to turn these illegal aliens into voters. Breakfast Club being canceled by the black community after bullying a 13-year-old cancer survivor, DJ Daniel, on air live. They're known for extreme and outrageous commentary, but nobody expected a topic that required black people to defend an action taken by Trump that would start the downfall of their radio station. I don't know. Nicole Wallace and this stuff, it's like, you know, people are talking. I've been doing comedy. I've been participating in stand-up, and you know, you do daily shows and you should have a level of discourse. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Yeah, but they're calling him nappy. I mean, look, they fired Don Imus for less than this. Don Imus called ladies basketball roughly the same thing they're talking about this kid's hair, except I think he called her a hoe and they called him something else. I don't know. This stuff doesn't bother me all that much, but go ahead and check out the clip if you want to. President Trump announced, according to Nick Sortor here, that they'll be labeling violence against Tesla showrooms as domestic terrorism. These wannabe Antifa hacks are about to FAFO when they get hit with federal terrorism charges. There's a burned out Tesla. Ian Miles Chong, Ontario Premier Doug Ford folded like a cheap newspaper, backing down from his threat of imposing tariffs on electricity to the U.S. after Trump threatened to hit Canada with aluminum and steel tariffs of 50%. That's a negotiation. That's fine. He spoke up, and they both are talking, and that's how we do things. Zero Hedge showing the plummeting of egg prices. That's where Trump entered office. We're back to kind of square one here now, after Biden killed all the birds, which was stupid, because as they said, you want the birds that survive these illnesses, because then they develop herd immunity, and then the next batch is stronger. You don't kill them all off. It's madness. Anyway, here's Rubio and Waltz speaking after holding talks with Ukraine. This could be the best news of the week, and every day is good news.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. I want to personally we both want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, for hosting us, for making this possible. They've been instrumental in this process, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us here today. And hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball's now in their court. And but again, the president's objective here is, number one, above everything else, he wants the war to end. And I think today Ukraine has taken a concrete step in that regard. We hope the Russians will reciprocate.
And hopefully that they only negotiated something with the Ukrainians that the Russians had already said that they would accept. Fingers crossed. Let's stop the bloodshed. I hate seeing it. Lightning round here. Bo Snerdley reporting Dr. Deborah Birx admitting she manipulated data and altered CDC guidelines to deceive President Trump, and it's not getting the attention that it deserves. Yep, Chase Geiser swatted at his home. We covered that. Right after his colleague Jamie White was murdered outside his home. What the F is going on? Gunther Eagleman saying, if we don't fix elections while we have the House, Senate, and presidency, we deserve to lose. We have to fix elections. Hands down. Every election will be stolen until we fix it. Paper ballots, no machines, voter ID required, signature verification, vote in person, proof of life. Austin police saying InfoWars journalist was killed by car burglars. Is his murder Travis County DA Jose Garza's fault for allowing crime to flourish in Austin? Or was it a Ukrainian hit team made to look like car burglars? Either way, George Soros and the deep state are to blame. I can't disagree with that. That's kind of the crux of today's show. Go out there and get prepared. Elon showing a picture of what it looks like fixing government computer systems, what it feels like. That's hilarious. If a shutdown happens, the Democrats will own it. GOP conference chairwoman Lisa McClain says that. Democrats have become chaos agents. We'll see. I still want Speaker Johnson to reduce that budget by $300. I want our budget to be less than it was last year. That's a basic ask. If you're cutting on Doge, reduce that budget a little bit. Just give us a little bit. Work with the Thomas Masseys and the Rand Pauls a little bit because the Tea Party meant what it was saying all those years ago. It wasn't just against Obama. It was that this debt is insane and we got to fix it. We got to stop spending more than we're making because that's common sense and sanity. So yeah, government shutdown talk. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Nick Sortor saying, even as one of President Trump's most loyal supporters, I disagree with going after Thomas Massey. He's the only member of Congress who stood up to the COVID boondoggle when the world went freaking mad. The chamber booed and jeered, but Massey was right. I came here to make sure our republic doesn't die in an empty chamber by unanimous consent, said Thomas Massey, March of 2020. Bridget Gabriel saying, pray for the persecuted Christians in Syria. Here's a thought. What if Elon turned all this Tesla dealership domestic terrorism into the biggest counterterrorism sting in U.S. history? Wouldn't that be awesome? These leftist activist paid terrorists exercising violent behavior need to go to prison ASAP. And a hacker got in, tried to destroy X. They're going after InfoWars. They're going after Tesla. Like everything's been clicked on. The light switch has gone on. You see the light switch went on. So it's time to get prepared. It's time to be aware. And it's time to support the people that you appreciate. That's all I had for today's show. Thank you so much for watching the TNAM AM Show. Oh, I forgot to mention our podcast in that crawl there. I'll do it now. Sub to our podcast at the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. There we go. Now I can save that. You see our donation links at the bottom. If you like today's program and feel so inclined, we're on Patreon at The New American Media, on PayPal at Fuzz Installment, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, Venmo, Brian Engelman. As I mentioned, and let me click it over to this, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube by searching The New American Media because the old American media failed. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_media_. And of course, our podcast, follow it, The Agree to Disagree Show. That's where we put the TNAM AM Show and The Agree to Disagree Show. Check out our previous content, 1,800 videos on YouTube. We're growing on Rumble and monetized on Rumble. If you watch us there and let the ad play, it's like tossing a penny into the wishing well. It all adds up. Please share our show with some people, some friends of yours. We're trying to grow, get some more subscribers. And we try to unpack the news for you in a fair way each and every day. And all of you who participate in the comments, David and Kenneth and where were you at? Bella's Chance. Everybody who jumps into the show, we appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. But when you link up with us on these other accounts, we share information all day long. So if you're following our group, TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show on Facebook, it's a private group. It's an awesome group. We say follow our page. That you kind of get a duplicate of our Instagram feed, which is what the first half of our show is based on. We'll go through those stories and we'll elaborate on them during our show. But then on X, you get like a preview of what we're going to talk about on the show too. So it's like you get involved in the pre-production stages as the show's setting up in dynamics. What happens when the government shuts down? I don't know. Did that happen today? Has it happened yet? Inflation falls to 2.8%. That's pretty good. German intel suspecting a Wuhan lab leak for COVID. And I'm not sure if, well, oh, Shaheen has opted out. New Hampshire Senate seat open in 2026. Okay. Yeah, all these other stories developing and breaking, we're going to cover them tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't shut down, but I need Speaker Johnson to reduce the amount that they put out in the House and in the Senate. It's too much. You got to have less. You can't just back up to post-COVID spending. You got to go back. You got to stop spending all this money. It's insane. I appreciate the Doge cuts, but that's a separate issue from this yearly budget. Reduce it even more. Cut it back. Figure it out. Anyway. All right. That's all I have for now. I'm going to sign out. To everyone out there in the TNAM universe, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.